It's time now for County-Wide, a presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. You'll hear about the interesting issues and happenings that affect all our lives. Here's today's County-Wide.
Well, good day to you once again. I'm Brad Miller. It is County-Wide, and we want to welcome onto the program a first-time guest, and hopefully she'll visit with us many, many times. We love to talk with educators, and the newest one in our Cottonwood-Verde Valley community is Melody Herne, the newly appointed superintendent of the Mingus Union High School District, and we say hello to you.
Hello, Brad Miller, and hello, County-Wide. I am honored and blessed to be here today to chat with you for a bit and excited to talk about great things getting ready to happen at Mingus as the year is gearing back up.
You might have just become our most enthusiastic guest introduction ever.
Okay, I will take that compliment.
So nice to meet you, and I want to really kind of today focus as the school year is just kind of getting the train back on the track for another year. The fall is approaching very quickly. I'd like to do just kind of an introductory show, if we may. Hear a little bit about Melody Herne and who she is and where you come from and those kinds of things. But let's just get our listeners caught up if they're outside the area. You were just appointed very, very recently.
Absolutely.
By the Mingus Board, yeah.
Yeah, so I went through the Arizona School Administrator Superintendent search, which Mingus Union used that wonderful organization. And so it was in February that we had final interviews, and then they selected their candidate. And what an exciting day that was when I got that call. I actually cried, and I'm not much of a crier, but I was so excited. And again, it was just such a blessing. And so I got to be on speakerphone with all of my board members as I emphatically said, yes, I accept, and I will be there at Mingus Union. So since then, of course, phone calls and emails, but I really got on board as quickly as I could. So, of course, my predecessor, Mike Westcott, we were in contact with one another. I would come up to Cottonwood area and we would have meetings. We were also doing work via email. And then officially in May, I did come on board and then physically moved to the Verde Valley mid-May. And have been here ever since, and it has been absolutely fantastic.
Just in time for that monsoon weather.
Right? Yes.
But that's not a stranger to you.
No.
You're kind of used to Arizona.
Yes. So
Talk to us about your background.
So I do say that I'm an Arizona girl. I have been in the Valley, the Phoenix Valley, for quite some time. This is my 29th year in education. Wow. Right? Like I'm to the point where I have, I've seen my former students come through and now be colleagues of mine. I've seen my former students' children come through and be children at different schools I've worked at. So yeah, 29 years. But prior to this, I was with Salt River as superintendent. And then before that, of course, named the position, and I worked it within education, starting very, very long ago, of course, with Sierra Vista Public Schools, so even further down south in Arizona, and then working my way up to the Valley and being at different districts within the Valley for many years before now coming to Mingus Union and being in the Cottonwood area.
You started as a teacher?
Yes, started as a teacher. As a matter of fact, started as a substitute teacher. Okay. So I was subbing while I worked on my credentials, and then moved into my first contractual full-time teaching position.
Okay.
Yeah.
Teaching at what level, if I can ask?
Yes. So I've always kind of been at like the middle to secondary level. So, basically 7th graders and on up. Yeah.
The trickiest one.
Yeah. But the age level that I absolutely just love. And actually my very first contractual teaching position, I was an alternative school teacher.
Okay.
So I taught basically all of the subjects, but to the students that a lot of teachers would say, oh no, this child cannot be in my classroom and needs to go someplace else. Right. So that is actually the child that is near and dear to my heart. That's the student that I just grew to love. And I'm like, we need to figure out how best to reach students that folks are saying, no, don't want that student in my classroom. We need to figure out how to reach that student and really work with them where they are and move them forward. So that really became kind of my favorite age level and my favorite type of student to work with. But After that first year, then everything else that I did was as a math teacher. So math is my passion,
Okay.
in terms of what I taught while I was in the classroom. And then very quickly, so after about 5 years in the classroom, I started moving into administration.
Was this long term? I mean, did you grow up thinking education was your way? Did you have parents that were in education?
Yes. Oh, Mr. Brad Miller, that's a great question, right? So my father was a career military man and my mother was a career educator.
Okay.
So I grew up thinking, oh no, I will not be a teacher. Education is not for me. And then I started substitute teaching and I was like, I absolutely love this. Why have I been fighting this? So I did grow up with my mother as a phenomenal example of a great educator. And I think that that helped me a lot when I transitioned from subbing and once I had my credentials and then started full-time teaching. And I taught at the school where my mother retired from. So that was very neat. To teach with many of the people that I had known for many years and get my start that way.
A terrific start.
Yes.
We're talking with Melody Herne. Melody is the new superintendent for the Mingus Union High School District. And as summer turns to fall, we'll be talking more and more about education and people like youngsters getting enrolled, families getting prepared for the coming school year. So your career arc has been pretty clear for the longest time. You taught for not a terribly long time before administration started to become a focus. Why that change?
So I think I always knew that I wanted to move into administration. I knew that I wanted to be in an area where I could exact change and really even get to the level of really working on policy, which when I moved, of course, to working for the state, I was with Arizona Department of Education for a while. Really being able to enact change at that level was key to me. So I knew that that was the area that I wanted to go into, and I always was kind of gearing up for that. So I did start back to school again fairly quickly in terms of working on my master's, and my master's was in administration and leadership. So I was able to start to move into leadership very quickly. And luckily had some really nice role models who saw some potential and said, you know, you should apply for these types of things. And then I went that route and kind of haven't looked back. So, yeah.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Let's take a short break. And when we come back, I want to talk about some of those things and how they're going to be applied now that you're with Mingus. And certainly with your career, that time span, almost 3 decades.
Yes.
Going to be a lot of changes.
Yes.
And those have got to be, it seems to me teachers have got to just, almost like doctors and surgeons, have to read everything and understand everything. And every single year, if not more often than that, there are going to be significant changes in what happens, whether it's curriculum, whether it's whatever it is. And that's critical. So I want to talk a little bit more about that. When we return to our program, it is countywide. We're welcoming on the show Melody Herne. Melody, I think I said Melanie. Melody Herne is our new superintendent, Mingus Union High School. I'm Brad Miller. More to come right after this.
Life changes, then it changes again. Predicting the unexpected in life is impossible. That's why it's called unexpected. So when it comes to financial goals, our philosophy is don't predict, prepare. Hi, I'm Edward Jones financial advisor Matthias Sandoval. A job loss, change in health, or a loss of a loved one can have a big impact on your family's financial security. Let's work together to help make sure you're equipped for life's unexpected events. Call our office to schedule a face-to-face appointment.
Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
Verde Solaire, your hometown heating, air conditioning, and plumbing company in the Verde Valley, and your trusted North Central Arizona Goodman dealer. Goodman is a name you can trust with the revolutionary Comfort Bridge technology factory installed into select Goodman gas furnaces and air handlers to ensure the entire system operates at peak energy efficient performance. Verde Solaire offers free in-home estimates, locally owned and operated since 1983. Visit them at verdesolaire.com. Better, cleaner, faster.
This is Andy Grossetta of Grossetta Ranches. I am a third-generation rancher whose family was one of the pioneer mining and ranching families in north central Arizona. The Verde Valley is a special place I grew up and my wife and I raised our family. I wanted to keep the Verde Valley special. That's why I'm voting to re-elect Supervisor Donna Michaels. Supervisor Michaels is always ready to listen, discuss, and problem solve any issue that concerns her constituents in the Verde Valley. Personally, I have worked with Supervisor Michaels on many issues involving healthcare in northern Arizona and grazing and off-highway vehicle issues on forest lands. I admire Supervisor Michaels because she doesn't hesitate to work across party lines to get things done. Her goal is simple: base decisions on input from residents and what's best for them and the Verde Valley, not special interests. Supervisor Michaels is a strong leader who seeks resolutions that work for the people she represents, and I am proud to support her for re-election.
Paid for by Donna Michaels for Supervisor Campaign Committee, authorized by Donna Michaels.
Let's talk. That's the message from Jonna Randall Murdoch, your local Farm Bureau agent, providing a personal touch when making insurance and financial decisions. Jonna will simplify your insurance needs while offering competitive pricing. Let's talk auto, home, life, and farm. Call Jonna at Farm Bureau today at 928-649-8686. Your Cottonwood Farm Bureau property and casualty insurance company. At Farm Bureau, they insure more than just farms.
We welcome you back to Countywide. I'm Brad Biller. Melody Herne is the new superintendent at Mingus Union High School. Help me understand something, because I don't think I did understand it. I saw second or third hand, I wasn't at the meeting, where the Mingus board suspended or removed a requirement about DEI, and some folks think that means there's no such programming anymore, and I don't think that's the case. This had to do just with the process of seeking a new superintendent.
Yes. So
tell me how wrong I'm getting.
No, but Brad, thank you so much for bringing this up. And I do want to caution by saying that some of the background was done in executive session, so
Sure.
I can't talk about all of the details.
Understood.
But what I can talk about where the vote was made in public session. So that was the diversity, equity, and inclusion portion on a superintendent evaluation tool.
Okay.
And that is because many of those tenets are embedded in other domains and indicators within the superintendent tool that was selected. And so they just removed the DEI portion of that superintendent portion of the superintendent tool. But in terms of the amazing things that we still do on campus and all of that, none of that is impacted.
Whole
by
different
this.
thing.
Whole different thing. Just
Okay.
one instrument and one section of an instrument that was removed. Yes.
Okay, so there's XYZ criteria.
Yeah.
This one was set aside.
Correct.
In what turned out to be your selection.
Yes.
But in the selection of a new superintendent.
In the selection of an instrument to evaluate me as the superintendent. Yes.
How it's put together and
Yes.
pieced together. Okay.
Yes. And I
okay.
do want to state, though, that the instrument is so good that there are other places where the diversity, equity, and inclusion are embedded within other places. So that's where I can highlight those wonderful things within other domains, even though technically the board took out the actual section that says DEI.
Okay.
Yes.
Let me talk to you a little bit about this. Kind of sort of similar, but moving a little different, especially giving your background, kind of working with especially disenfranchised youngsters and kids who maybe are having a little tougher time, whether it's scholastically or socially. One of my kids was that way.
Yeah.
There was a wonderful program in place at Mingus, and I believe that there still is. Is that a challenge? I mean, parents who are dealing with issues that many other parents just aren't dealing with.
So I would say absolutely. And I think that that's part of just the changing world that we live in and the changing field of education. Again, as I am getting ready to round out 30 years, wow, but having spent, most of my adult life in education, definitely I have seen the changes over the years. I've been a part of the changes over the years. Teachers are required to do professional development. Many teachers choose to go back to school and actually earn university and college level credits, and all of that helps as we really prepare for everyone who's going to walk through our doors. And my big thing as an educator is that it's so important that our academics are on track, but making sure that we have, students that know you belong here with us.
Yeah.
And even if that comes down to, I need to learn the names of, every single student that's walking through my classroom door, and making sure that they feel that sense of belonging when they walk into the classroom. As superintendent, my hope is that they feel it the moment that they walk, into the building, whether it's, on the district side, on the school side, but that they understand how loved they are by all of the educators and the amazing work that the educators are putting in to help them to really feel a part of what's going on. So that is very, very important. And one of those, as we look to like what makes us an educator and what are some of those mountains that we die on, really making sure that students feel as if they belong. That is one of my key areas that I just think is so important.
Yeah. And every kid's going to be different.
Yes.
And I mean, I'm telling you,
Yes.
I'm telling the listeners, that from firsthand experience for many, many years. Is there, if you could identify one issue, and not necessarily specific to Mingus, but public education? I know funding has always been an issue with public education. Funding maybe is getting trickier than it's ever been. The people choosing to leave the district and taking, that state money with them. Yeah. Those are going to be challenges, as they always are. Have you, where do you kind of land on that?
Very good question. And so I think right now of some of the ESA that's going on and folks that are making the decision to whether it's homeschooling or taking students someplace different. I would always say, looking at that from a positive angle, in the public school, you get all of the sports programs, right? So as, Mingus can offer all of these great sports, for some of the ESA students, that would not be an option for them. So I would always say, the well-rounded student that we would hope to produce, so not only the student that did very well in their academics and got those grades, but then also was in extracurricular and fine arts and CTE courses and sports and all of those great things. That would be a reason that I would say, staying in the public school system is very much a plus, because some of those options are limited when you go to that
Right.
ESA option. And again, I understand why federal government and then state government has put things like that into place. But as someone who has given my whole life to public education, I came up through public education, of course, decided to then, as my career, go into public education. I would always say that public education to me is so important. But again, I do understand why people would choose other options, but I'm always going to be yay for public education.
Sure,
yes,
sure.
Yes.
And it kind of sort of on the flip side of that coin, it just kind of seems like there's a stronger push in recent years, even just the last 5, say, for vocational and technical learning. Where we very much used to be the American high school, say, particularly would be aimed at a college afterlife for the graduates, whereas now there's certainly still that, but it seems like vocational tech has earned a more respectful place, and that's not the right word, but I think you know what I mean.
100%. And again, when we talk about those mountains that we die on as educators, that's another one that I love. I think career and technical education is so important. And I really feel that Mingus should be a powerhouse. And of course, we're sitting next to VACT. And so our collaboration, our collegiality with VACT is so important. But I really think having a trade that a student can learn, and then, of course, the certification tests that come at the end of those courses, and being able to walk out of the doors and immediately go to a job that is a well-paying job and you are ready for the challenges of that job, that is significant.
Yeah.
And so I believe in career and technical education. I think it is just so very important. And so I love that we have a group of students that understand, wow, I can be a part of something for 4 years, take a test, and really be ready to be successful in that field.
So when high school graduates walk out, they're ready for whatever direction they choose to go in.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's take another short break. When we come back, we'll wrap it up. Some concluding thoughts as we introduce Melody Herne, the new Mingus Union High School superintendent. I'm Brad Miller. It's Countywide, and we'll be back right after this.
Life changes, then it changes again. Predicting the unexpected in life is impossible. That's why it's called unexpected. So when it comes to financial goals, our philosophy is don't predict, prepare. Hi, I'm Edward Jones financial advisor Matthias Sandoval. A job loss, change in health, or a loss of a loved one can have a big impact on your family's financial security. Let's work together to help make sure you're equipped for life's unexpected events. Call our office to schedule a face-to-face appointment.
Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
Verde Solaire, your hometown heating, air conditioning, and plumbing company in the Verde Valley, and your trusted North Central Arizona Goodman dealer. Goodman is a name you can trust with the revolutionary Comfort Bridge technology factory installed into select Goodman gas furnaces and air handlers to ensure the entire system operates at peak energy efficient performance. Verde Solaire offers free in-home estimates, locally owned and operated since 1983. Visit them at verdesolaire.com. Better, cleaner, faster.
Hi, this is your supervisor, Donna Michaels. I decided to run in 2020 because Verde Valley residents' voices simply were not being heard. I ensured that your values were guiding the county's decision-making process. You also demanded action on implementing long-term solutions to secure your water future, to protect your public land through OHV legislation, and increasing road safety and easing traffic congestion. We advocated for access to convenient, high-quality health care we all deserve. I'm proud to share that together, we've made significant progress on these critical issues, as well as many others. Please visit my website, supervisor.michaels.com, and learn more about our progress and our accomplishments. With your vote on July 30, we will continue to preserve and protect our very special Verde Valley.
Paid for by Donna Michaels for Supervisor Campaign Committee, authorized by Donna Michaels.
Let's talk. That's the message from Jonna Randall Murdoch, your local Farm Bureau agent providing a personal touch when making insurance and financial decisions. Jonna will simplify your insurance needs while offering competitive pricing. Let's talk auto, home, life, and farm. Call Jonna at Farm Bureau today at 928-649-8686. Your Cottonwood Farm Bureau property and casualty insurance company. At Farm Bureau, they insure more than just farms.
We welcome you back to the program. Melody Herne is the new superintendent at Mingus Union High School. And as we kind of wrap up the program, we should obviously mention it is that time. School bell's going to be ringing very soon everywhere, including at Mingus and across the Verde Valley and the Yavapai County area. So enrollment is here.
Okay, so this, of course, is the 24-25 school year, or a lot of times you'll hear educators maybe calling it like fiscal year 2025. But as we get ready to start the academic year, if I could just very quickly touch on a few things. So registration is getting ready to happen.
Right.
Students should have gotten some information in the mail. The first few days will be for students who have already matriculated and been a part of being enrolled in Mingus. And then the last couple days will really be for students like brand new to Mingus who might be enrolling for the first time. All of that culminating in the freshmen having a very special orientation where they will meet some of their teachers, go classroom to classroom, that sort of thing. So please be looking for information on that. I would also like to plug the Mingus website, so mingusunion.com. Please go there and pick up any information on specific dates, times, things like that for registration, as well as any event happening as we move into this school year 24-25.
Sounds terrific.
Yes.
Let me just ask you this. I ask a lot of guests this, not just the new ones and the freshmen, if you will, onto our program. Can you look into the crystal ball in 5 years, 10 years, down the road? One of your goals, or if you have an umbrella full of goals, things that you would like to bring to Mingus or to see from Mingus.
Yes. Okay. So Mr. Brad Miller, countywide, here we go. Mingus to be a powerhouse and in everything. In our academics, as you know, we are graded by the state on the Arizona A through F letter grade. We are currently a B as in boy, hoping to move that to an A as in apple. So academically, again, I've already touched base on career and technical education, but a powerhouse in CTE, a powerhouse with all of our, our fine arts, our sports, all those extracurriculars, students involved in things and really taking pride in being involved in those areas. And then, of course, any superintendent would be remiss if he or she did not talk about, our superintendent board relationships. But I have a wonderful education board. I've got some seats coming up for election, so we will see a couple of changes. But just in my relationship with my board, as we go through professional development, as we continue to grow as a leadership team, the board really focused on creating policy that then helps myself as the leader as well as the rest of the school for us to move forward in doing great things for the students here within the Verde Valley.
That sounds terrific. We say best wishes to you. In showbiz, it's break a leg. Is there a similar phrasing for educators?
I don't know, right?
Throw the eraser?
Right? Something. So let's stay with A for apple, right? Maybe that will be our new catchphrase, right? But again, I would say really just many thanks to everyone within the Verde Valley that does support Mingus, who is sending us their kiddos, those who have are alumni of Mingus. I love it when I meet people and they're like, oh, yes, I graduated from Mingus or my grandchildren graduated. So I would just say the continued support of everyone is so wonderful. And always big thanks to our folks on the front line, our teachers. I always say no matter what my position title says, I am an educator. And so really always keeping our teachers in mind and the great work that they are doing every day that they are with students is absolutely wonderful. So I'm going to go back to, I think that means A for apple more than break a leg.
We appreciate it. Melody Herne, the new superintendent, Mingus Union High School, as our 24-25 school year is set to begin. I'm Brad Miller. It's countywide, and we'll see you next time.
This has been Countywide. Listen in each Tuesday and Thursday at this time. If you have a topic or guest idea that you'd like to suggest, email us, news@myradioplace.com.